What's up, everyone? It's your girl Rossie, and I'm back with another amazing show. You guys, I just want to thank you for all the audio listeners. You just made Rossie's Clubhouse number 6 in the top 10 of interviews and podcasts on Good Pod. So that's awesome, guys. We made the list. I thank you guys so much for listening and watching us on YouTube. And I look forward to bringing you more content and more amazing artists. So just a little bit, guys, I'm Rossie McCree. If you don't know, I'm the host of Rossie's Clubhouse. And Rossie's Clubhouse is a Sacramento-based podcast. And what I do is I focus on interviews in all areas of entertainment. Okay, guys? So once a month, though, I like to reach out and bring someone from maybe Southern California or even someone from out of state. Thank you, BK the Don, for being the first person that I brought from out of state. Big up to Atlanta, and you're doing big things. And congratulations, BK, on being in the top 100 on Billboard. That's awesome. Anyways, you guys, today I have another young lady that I am absolutely a fan of. You guys saw Amari Washington last week, another fan of that I've been following. I've been following Miss Mitchell, Imani Mitchell, for some years. I had the pleasure of working with her in one of her amazing films called Whirlpool back in the day. I think that was like 2021, 2022, I believe. Anyways, she's here. She's an actress. She's a director, producer. She does, or a writer as well. She does a lot, and I want you guys to meet her. But first, let's start the show, guys. Okay, folks, let's meet Imani, you guys. Hi, Imani. How are you?
I'm good, Rossi. How are you?
I'm really good. So you guys, Imani and I were backstage and we're talking about, gosh, when did I first meet you? It's been a long time. So I met her. She had a film and it was called Whirlpool. And we'll talk a little bit about that. That was about what, 2021, 2022?
I've actually been 2019, I think before the pandemic. So
Really? Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
19.
I met her at the graveyard. We were shooting a really important part of this film, and it was a really sad day. And I remember you had such brilliant young little actresses that were just great. Everyone there was amazing, and there are people that I also followed. But I met her there. I was an extra on set. Heard so much about her. Definitely wanted to jump on this project. Tell me a little bit about Whirlpool, just to give them an idea of what that was. That wasn't your first film that you wrote and directed, but it was what the second like really big film that you did.
It was the first. No, it was the first film I
Okay,
ever wrote, first film I ever directed. Yeah, and for why I decided to do a feature, I have no idea. Most people will start a little smaller. But yeah, I was the first, and the idea of the film, it just kind of kept coming to me. The premise of it, and so I love film for many years, but I never went to school for, screenwriting or anything of the sort. I just sort of went to YouTube University and did quite a bit of research. And then I decided, okay, it's time to dive into this and start writing the script. So it had quite a few different, drafts, of course. And then I was like, it's time to shoot it. And that was that.
wow. What did it take for you for that being your first film to take on all that, like jump in there, shoot it, everything that's involved, casting? How was that for you? Was it highly stressful for you? Give us an idea for you as a young filmmaker and writer at the time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A lot of stress, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt as well, especially because, I didn't feel like I was, I had the formal training or things like that to write scripts. So I was sort of in my head about, should I be doing this? Why me? And then I was like, well, there's plenty of people who make films all the time, and
Yep.
and we all have a diversity of perspectives, right, and experience. And so it's like, just make the thing. Um, it's a lot, you don't really know how much. I didn't know how much I had bit off until we got into the thick of it, and I was like, "Oh, I am sort of overseeing everything," you know what I mean? And, so it's a great, lesson in management, like time management, people management, organization. I think there is a side to filmmaking that is all artsy and cool, and everybody, we all like that part. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
The other part is like, where are the actors, and have we ordered the food for the day, and just sent out the call sheets, like all this stuff that is way more administrative than artistic, and that can definitely be a lot.
Right. And the community comes together. I want to say that about Sacramento. A lot of people have different feelings about how the community is here in Sacramento. I found them very helpful. I joined the California Film Foundation when I was getting back into acting, kind of as a guide, just to be around supportive people and just to be in that climate of just artistic people in all areas of entertainment. So that was really exciting for me. How has the community been for you? Did you get what I got where everyone just wants to jump in and help out and no one's talking about pay? It doesn't matter. You just want to be a part of what you've been dreaming of forever.
That's a good point. I think and when I was doing it too, oh, I guess yeah, now in like 2018 or so, I mean there were people that I know I could tell were sort of have been in the film community for a while, some who
Right.
I knew sort of and some who I didn't know. And then our production was kind of a weird hodgepodge of, like, I had people from the theater world that I brought in to help out with, and then some people I'd never worked with before. Then How I Met You, like that's just putting out, a
Right.
casting notice. And so some of it was just kind of going on you like Facebook and trying to find different people. And so it was kind of a not a ragtag group, but it was, people were coming in from all different places. I do think there is a community here, and so far it seems relatively positive. I mean, a lot of folks work with the same people and
Yeah.
things of that sort, and so it's kind of small, which is nice. Everybody kind of knows who everybody is. So yeah, I think that's a nice part of it.
Well, I was reading your bio on IMDb, and it was saying that you're actually from theater and a film actress. You've had 10 years of experience. She was born and raised in Sacramento, so she is Sacramento. And you absolutely are. I grew up in Merced. I lived there till I was like 13, and then we moved up to the Northwest. So I'm from Portland, Oregon
Oh,
area. Yeah, we came here in 2012, and so when my son graduated from high school, it was like, what do I want to do? And my husband's like, just, you know, 'cause I didn't know, I was new here in Sacramento, decided in 2017, maybe I'll get back into acting. And that's how I got back into acting, was that. But I had started up in Oregon at 24 and got into the film, did extra on Lifetime. And so getting back into it after all the years, because I had little boys and I want to get into that with you. Two little boys, my husband, and it was basically like making a choice. And at that point, I had an agent, and he's like, you're a mom, but you're kind of missing some of these calls, so we got to make a choice. What do you want to do? And of course, I chose to, put that on the back burner, raise these boys that I love so much, get them through school, give them that time. So, when I got here, it was like I hadn't been in acting in forever, hadn't been into the world. So, Sacramento, sat casting, gosh, at the time, Casting Calls of America. Thank goodness I found them, and that was like kind of my step, and which led me to you. As a parent, though, how
mhm,
was that for you, juggling that? Because we do a lot as mothers.
mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, also too, by the way, I'm still in shock hearing you say that you have a child in high school. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like Rossi's like 22. I'm
Thank you
like,
guys. Thank you guys.
like, what? My brain is sort of, but yeah, no, that
Moisturize, moisturize.
wow, yeah, there we go. Moisturize, there we go. No, to your point, absolutely. It's a gosh, I remember when I got pregnant. Honestly, I mean, this is so dramatic, but I was like, I guess this is it. Like, life is over.
Yep,
I
yep,
graduate
yeah.
to the arts. And then, and, it can be difficult, definitely when they're younger as well. To your point, it's like you want to be there,
Yeah.
and they kind of require it of you too. It's like you
Oh,
don't
absolutely.
choice. But I have found that as she's gotten older, because my daughter now is 10, it's gotten easier. And then, community support, like my mother is
Right.
instrumental in helping me. And then even now, my partner now, he's also instrumental in helping out, and so we find a way to make it work. And now, though she's at an age, I just bring her with me everywhere. I'm like, come
Right.
on, so she's used to it, you know. But
Right.
it's a lot, and honestly, too, a lot of people in the industry, the norm is kind of not having kids. At least that's what I've
Yeah.
found.
Yeah.
So I'm often
It
in
is.
rehearsal spaces in theater or on a film shoot, and I'm either like the only parent in the room or like one of two people who has a kid.
Mhm.
And so there's a perspective that's missing, and there's also like a consideration that tends to not be there. It's like, why are we rehearsing from this time to this time? You know, like, has anyone thought
Right.
maybe we could rehearse at a different time to sort of
Right.
accommodate people with kids?
Yeah.
So, but I get it. I get that having kids though and being an actor or an artist can be difficult. And I know that's why
Yeah.
some folks are like
I know. I get that. I remember, when before I stopped, it's like bringing the boys, and my husband, and they'd sit outside while I'm auditioning, or shooting a commercial. They'd be outside for hours, and he'd be walking them around the car and just doing that, and they'd be really excited, because mom's happy, mom loves this, and it's exciting for them. And
Mhm.
to bring them on a set, really cool for them to see the lights and all that, because they're kids and they watch TV. So to see that, that's like, wow, my mom's doing this. It was a really big deal. And yes, as they get older, it definitely does get easier. But you starting as a theater actress, when did you start acting? How young were you?
Ooh, I did my first show when I was actually close to my daughter's age. So I was like 10 or 12. And
Wow.
yeah, I did this show, a Shakespeare show, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and then kind of caught the theater bug. And then I did it, I think I was always kind of a theatrical kid, an animated
Yeah.
kid. And then I kind of, and then in high school, there was a drama program, and a friend and I were like, let's audition. And then once we started that, so we did that pretty much from junior to senior year. And then I went to Sac City College and got my associates in theater. And then after that, I was kind of like, I guess this is my life, like this is something I love to do.
Right.
But I did start off acting, so it was always
Okay.
just I was an actor, and that was it.
Okay.
Directing and writing didn't really come until a little bit later on.
Right. How was it? I know, for me, going from, because wanted to be a stage actress. I loved the
Mhm.
stage, did a lot of stage plays, and then once I got on camera, it was like, oh my gosh, this is even better. I love this. But
Uh,
going from a stage actor to a film actress was really hard because of the on stage you're projecting. You have to be loud. I remember having a casting director like, bring it down a little bit. You're from the stage, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, we gotta redo this. Like, on camera, it's gonna be a little different. You got your emotions has to be in check. You can show that you're angry, but you can't be on stage angry like that. Did you have issues? Did you go through that switching from theater to film?
Yeah, I don't even know if I have quite mastered it yet in film. I'm like, because Rossi, like my face is like wah wah wah. It just I'm always emoting, too much going on my face. It's just hard, and so yeah, it's hard to refine and bring it down some. And
Yeah,
I'm curious too to hear from you. So you're saying you went from theater to film, and
yeah,
you said you liked it a lot better. What about
yeah.
it was it that you enjoyed more?
I think it was being a kid and watching movies, but then getting on the stage and like, I want to be on Broadway and all that, but then being on a professional set and watching all these actors do their thing, it was kind of like, I think for me at that time, it was fame. I think I wanted fame, and the cameras would bring fame, and I wanted to be this huge actress. And I felt that film would get me there faster. I had a, I think my idea of Hollywood was like that old Hollywood, the glitz and glamour. Like, I wanted to be that, and I can get that on film. Um, and so that's when I switched up. But I have to say, on stage, it felt more authentic for me. I enjoyed just the people being out there and performing in front of the people, and then that nervousness that you get when you go out on stage, and then once you're there, it was just so comfortable. But man, being on that Lifetime set, I was like, this is it. I want to
Mhm.
be on film. I want to be that star. I want to be all that. But acting on film and still acting as a a theatrical actress. It's just not. No, I mean, I'd go in there and audition, and it'd be because I love drama. It'd be a dramatic scene, and I come in there and I know the parts and all, but I'm like, I'm going off like as if I'm on stage, and that's why a lot of them know you're from stage because you're projecting, and you got to learn to act in front of that camera and not. You can give that. You can Angela Bassett it, but do it how she does it, like you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
yeah, and now I'm a podcaster.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well,
and now I'm a
right.
podcaster.
Well, I think shows that like our journeys are, there's no one linear, similar to you. And I think a lot of, especially when you're starting off young, there is this
Yeah.
feeling of like, you see the Denzels and the Angela Bassett,
Yes,
so you're
yes.
like, oh, I want to be like that. I want
There
to be
you go. Yeah.
that. And then you're like, is that what I want? And I don't think it
Yeah.
was until probably a couple years back where I was like, wait, what really matters to me in my artistry? And because they've got problems too. Meaning like
Yes.
there's some, the grass isn't always greener. And I think for me, as long as I am doing my craft in some capacity, like even if I'm directing a show at a community theater or at a professional theater, regardless, I'm doing what I love to do. And I think that's like that is the fulfillment, yeah, maybe one day I gotta work on my film face, guys. I'm gonna work on it, work on it.
I was talking to Buddy Remick. I was doing his podcast about a month ago, and we had that conversation about going from wanting to be an actress and like you said, the Denzel effect, where you want to be that, you want to be Angela, but then when you get into it, you realize this is not easy. This is hard. This is going to take some time. This is not what I thought it was. And I know for me actually, having that idea of what I wanted and what I wanted to do, and then pivoting to, having an opportunity to do podcast and be a podcaster. I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. And it's so funny how I'm in this, I'm going to these auditions, things are going good. Then I get this opportunity that I didn't know I could even do.
Mhm.
But I'm so grateful that I'm still able to create. I'm still able to, sit with actresses like you and filmmakers and do that while not going out there and auditioning, and things just like my whole world just shook because that was my baby, and now I'm doing this and it's like, wow, this is amazing. I love this. So a lot of young people, you guys out there that are actresses or you want to be that, um, and just to let you know, for me, I didn't even know who I was as an actress. I knew I wanted to be a dramatic actress, but who am I as an actress? Kind of like what you said. What am I doing?
Mhm.
Do I still look at it like that? And I think over the past few years, the whole Hollywood things really makes you realize that people are just like you. And I had to wake up to that too. They're just like you. They're normal people. They have issues. It's not all what it's cracked up to be. It's really hard to get to that Denzel Washington stage. That's a lot. And I realized that that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but getting back to you and back to you guys out there, if you guys want to do this, I absolutely go for it, you guys. Have normal expectations, but go for it. You know what I mean? Go for it. And as long as you're able to create, guys, I mean, there's so much that's involved in the entertainment industry that you can do. I love behind the scenes. I used to do that in high school, build sets and realize, wow, I like being behind the camera. I like being behind the scenes and building the sets. There's so much that you can do. So definitely go and explore and figure out who you are as an artistic person.
Mhm.
Um, Imani, I was reading your bio and it says here, okay, so in 2022, you directed Love and Baseball at B Street Theater and it was adapted into a feature length film now streaming on HBO Max. What?
but
What?
Well, not to my I mean, I didn't have much to do with that.
Okay.
They had done, so it was a play that had existed. It was written actually some years ago. They staged
Okay.
it, and then the playwright, yeah, he was contacted by some filmmakers, and they wanted to make it into this film on HBO. And so what was actually kind of cool is what those filmmake. Then it came back to stage, and that's when I directed the second
Okay.
staging of it. And it was kind of cool because the filmmakers kind of brought their own vision to it, which almost served as a little bit of inspiration for the restaging
Okay.
of the play for us. And so it was kind of cool. I don't think I've seen a project do that. Like it was a play becomes a
Right.
play again. So it
Right.
had quite a journey. And when they first did it, I believe the playwright directed it as well. And so then the second restaging, he reached out to me and was like, you know, I trust you with this. I really want to see what you would do with it. And so it was exciting. Yeah, it was a really exciting project and just
Nice.
a little rom com, very simple story, boy meets girl,
Okay.
and they keep on and but the timing's never right. They meet each other when they're like in their 20s, and then 5 years pass, and then they meet again, and now she's married and
Right.
still loves her, and then 5 years later she's now divorced, and now the timing's finally right, and they get together. So it's a yeah, lovely little story, you know.
Nice. Very nice. You had one in let's see, it's called The Light of Thespis.
Yeah, that was actually one I acted in. A friend of mine,
Okay.
DJ Hale, he's done quite a lot of work in, I think he's in LA now.
Okay.
Yeah, we shot it in Sacramento, and he asked me to. It was about a struggling theater owner, and
Yeah.
he's doing glass rods like his last show. So I was like, yeah, it was a fun one to do. But oddly enough, the character I was playing wasn't a theater actress. So in the scene,
Okay.
so I got to still be theatrical because I am, so yeah.
Let's see. Also, I remember yesterday.
Yeah, I remember yesterday that
Yes.
we shot that. Gosh, that might have been, yeah, it was a couple of years back, and but that was actually, it was based on a true story. I had a friend at the time who he started a new job. He was starting in the tech world in San Francisco, and caught the BART and saw his grandfather, who he hadn't seen for years, who was there homeless, sort of begging, panhandling for money. And it was this kind of shocking moment for him. I mean, he hadn't seen the grandfather for like 10 years and had no idea where he was, had no idea he was homeless. And so that served as the inspiration of the piece. And then also too, it was really just to take a look at homelessness in the city in Sacramento,
Yeah.
and also how people, the different perspectives on it, and then also just telling the story of this family navigating that
Okay.
and what that all means for them. And
Right.
so yeah, that was a definitely heartfelt piece.
Absolutely, I can get that. I was interviewing Nick Anderson a few months ago, last year actually, and he was just getting ready to release his film called "A Right to Exist." It was a documentary, and it was about homelessness here in Sacramento.
Mhm.
And it was awesome because what he did was he went around and interviewed a lot of different homeless people from different backgrounds, families, and whatnot. And we had this discussion on just the whole homeless problem and issue that's going on, not only in Sacramento, but around the world. And I was telling him, my story of my family dealing with homelessness, but having a mom and what a male goes through and what a female goes through is totally different. For the females, you get some help, and I want to say, you get help and you're taken care of. For a guy, it's a little bit different because my brother experienced that, and I remember he couldn't get the help that we were able to get because he was an able-bodied man, and people have like struggles, they need help. And then we talked about how they build these low income housing, but they start at like $900, $1,000.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to talk about the shelters because a shelter honestly can be just as dangerous as being on the street. So some people don't want to go to shelters because it's scary. It's like, what answers
Yeah.
are there for a situation like that? And the fact that Nick went out there and talked to families, that these are families that were not wanting to be homeless. This is not by their choice. It's because rent was really high and low income was way too high to afford. So you have whole families living in a tent on the street and being judged because why are you there?
Yeah.
All of us are this close to being in that position. So to know that you did a film like that you probably can relate to what Nick did,
Yeah.
It's a huge issue in Sacramento and around the world. And I just wanted to speak on that because that really
Mhm.
low income guys, think about that. $900 low income.
Not really.
That isn't that crazy?
That is. Oh yeah. And I think also too, in addition, there's I don't know. I find with the city, there's a lot of band-aids and there's sort of like quick
Yeah.
fixes. And one
Yes.
thing I've observed too in growing up here is, the nature of homelessness has changed, and that there's also just there's a mental health crisis that a lot of
Yeah.
run into.
Abs-
And
yep.
so it's not just about I don't have enough money or I don't have access to
Yes.
housing. It's also like I'm dealing with schizophrenia, I'm dealing with mental,
Right.
dealing with
Yep.
drug addiction. So it's like,
Yep.
there has to be more work, I think, in the proact. A lot of it's just like, oh, I heard, and a lot of, I live in Midtown, and a lot of what I observe is there will be, an encampment that starts up, and then the police show up and like, all right, now you got to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
shuffling people around.
Yes.
It doesn't really help the issue.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you see them gone, when you see the encampments gone, you wonder, okay, where do they put them at now? Because
Mhm.
I work over by the Capitol Casino, and going over there, you know, noticing that the people that I saw somewhere else have all been shipped over there. It's kind of like I feel like when I ride through, like, oh, this is a dirty little secret that they have, so they're shipping them over here and just putting them out the way from Capitol Mall, you know, hiding them out the way from Midtown,
Yep.
and just like you know what I mean, and shuffling them to places like industrial places where they keep them at, and then I go through and they're cleaning them up, and it's
Yep.
like where are you guys taking them? You know, and it's a lot of mental. It's so much more mental health than you think, and you can't lock people up for having mental issues. So you're right. It's just band-aids put on the problem. God bless those people, and God bless you, Nick Anderson, for going out there and humanizing
Yeah.
humans that are going through hard times. So you guys can watch this documentary. It's out now. I want to ask you, as far as the film industry is concerned, um, how has it changed from when you first started
Hmm.
to where you're at now, and especially as a woman?
Ooh, film industry. Gosh, it's hard to say. I have concerns in the sense that, and I'm not at Sundance. I'm just like a lady who made a couple of
Right,
films, but I love film. I love cinema, and so I keep up to date with it and kind of watch trends. And
right,
I think one thing I'm concerned with, or what I've noticed from when I was a child growing up, and I feel like being in the early 2000s, and I was looking at some of the films that used to come out, and I was like, wow, like a lot of these films were really culturally significant, or they were kind of the first of their kind when they came out, whether it was a rom-com or if it was, but like these films, they still hold value now, whether it's, Seven or White Chicks or,
right.
whatever like those were Gladiator, like these were films that
Yeah,
had significance from like the 90s and early 2000s. And
right.
what I've noticed is that we are saturated for one with films. So the streaming era now is like there's so much choice and there's so much
Yes.
to pick from that I think it has made people not value film as much or the work that goes into a film. I'll see a trailer come out and within minutes it's on Twitter, and it's been dissected. People say
Yes.
they don't like it or they haven't heard of it. And you're like, this
Right.
trailer just dropped, so you have,
Right.
it's like a feature film. I mean, we're talking about a couple of years at least.
Yes.
People are putting in all this time and effort, and within like minutes, people are saying,
Right.
"Oh, this is trash. I don't want to see
Right.
this." They're like, ah. So
Yes.
I don't know. So I think all these filmmakers now and all the streaming giants are trying to figure out what else can we churn out to get
Right.
people hooked and get them into
Right.
something. And I don't know. I think it's just affected the art of storytelling and filmmaking. And I feel like there's more films being made, but like less classics, like less. And
Yes.
now we're in the era too, right? Of like, let's make a live action of everything. Let's
Oh
make a
my gosh. Right.
live action of, because they know that they can bank off of nostalgia, right? Like they can
Right.
bank off
Right.
millennials being like, okay, I'll go see Lilo and Stitch,
Right.
or we'll take our kids, right? Because
Yes.
we remember
Yes.
Lilo and Stitch. But it's like, God, like where are we though? Like, what does that say about the state of filmmaking?
I
That's
I
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I was I do a game segment. I'm a huge gamer, love games, love the art of games, and especially when you bring actors into games, it just especially for some games, it's great.
Mm.
But with that, there's a game that's coming out. It's called Intergalactic, and the actress, gosh, I forget her name, very talented. Anyway, she's going to be on The Last of Us 2 that's coming out. She was on a lot of other things, but the trailer comes out and it's being ripped apart. It's being ripped apart. It's woke. It's there's another female lead, and then there's the female lead there. It's absolutely woke. So the actress comes out trying to defend it and makes it worse, makes it even worse. So then the Naughty Dog who's making it, who made the game, they had to shut their comments off because it was really going just craziness. So we wanted to discuss what is that about a trailer? You've only seen the trailer and this company turns out really good games. I mean, they gave us The Last of Us.
Mhm.
What I get people being upset at woke, but what is woke about? It's an actress. She's playing a part. Actors do that for games. You've only seen a trailer and you're judging it already. And I get that the actress came out to defend it and kind of, got into it with some of the fans, but guys, it's the trailer. It's just the trailer. And another thing I want to mention, you're right about taking that excitement out of when a movie comes out and it's going to be at the theater and you see the trailer and you can't wait to see it. Now you got released in the theater, next day it's on HBO. You've taken the excitement out of going to the movies to go see your favorite film because now, shoot, I can wait and I can stream it on HBO. I can stream it on I can stream it on YouTube and not even have to go to the theaters. I used to love going to the theaters. That was fun. I went to go see Poetic Justice at the theater. I couldn't wait. Imagine if Poetic Justice was released today and then tomorrow it's on HBO. The point of films is to go and see it in a theater. And that's why I miss the golden age of Hollywood when it was about the trailer and can't wait to see the film and just the date night and going to the drive-in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or now we're binge culture where, we want to sit and binge the whole first season of Yellow Jackets all at once because we don't want to wait until the next week. And I'm guilty of that because it's affected me. I can go and spend a Sunday off and binge all of 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah. It's
When
a
before you couldn't wait.
You had to wait, and I think I also am wondering, yeah, psychologically, what has changed within us, right? Because
Right.
I remember it was an event within my household. My parents and I would sit and watch Lost, like when Lost
Yes.
came out,
Yes.
and you
Right.
watch one episode, and then you're
Yep.
like, "Whoa, what's gonna happen?" And then you waited a week,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then you came. There was also something too. I don't know if you have seen this, where there's also been a trend in series where if you look at like Game of Thrones, Sopranos, kind of like those earlier series or
Right.
2000 series, they would bring out those seasons every year. So it's like season one,
Yeah. Yep.
2008, season 2009. So you're not like waiting. And now what people have been noticing is like these newer shows, Stranger Things, Euphoria,
Yeah.
there's like a 3 to sometimes 5 year gap between
Yes.
when the next season comes out. And these shows are also becoming exorbitantly more expensive. And
Yes.
so you're wondering, it's like the question is, what are we? And then the season is like 6 episodes. You're like, what are you spending? Going on, right? So it's
Right.
also kind of a confusing I don't quite know what that's all about either, like why it takes now so much longer to make the series or season, other than the
Right.
fact that maybe it's gotten more expensive. But I don't know, things have changed, and to your point, there was a thrill in going to the theater and seeing
Yes.
trailers for the first time in the theater
Right.
and being like, "That looks cool." And there was also a thrill to, like, waiting the next week for a new episode to drop and being like, "Oh, I can't wait," and talking to people about it, and, "I think it's
Right.
gonna be this," and then it dropped. It was like a communal more of
Yes.
a communal moment, I think, and
Agree.
now with streaming, watching content has become so individualized
Right.
that I can go lock myself in a room and binge watch, whatever it
Right.
might be.
Yes.
And and
Yes.
and so I don't know, it takes the community out of it, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. What projects do you have going on right now? What are you working on? What can
Ooh,
we expect from you?
oh my gosh. I right now I'm on a little bit of a hiatus, but I've got
Okay.
a show I'm directing. It's called Chicken and Biscuits. It's a
Okay.
very fun show over at Celebration Arts, and then I want to get back into some film work. I finished up a short last year called The Second Pill, and I've got that on YouTube. And I
Okay.
acted in that one,
Did you okay?
which was kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll do that again. Directing and acting, it's like, oh my gosh. But other than that, I had actually a really nice conversation with a film friend of mine yesterday, and so it kind of reinvigorated. I've got some scripts I'm sitting on. It's just hard, Rossi. It's like film is expensive, and I try to compensate people,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
amount. And so it ends up being that I self-fund projects, which is fine, but then it just means I gotta save up to kind of self,
Yes.
you know? So
Right. Right.
I'm
You
not
know,
good
when go
at
ahead.
crowdfunding and
Go
all
ahead.
that. So that's why I did crowdfunding for Whirlpool, and I was like, "Oh, I hate this." So I'm like, "I'll just wait to, get my tax return or something."
Right. I get that. I get it is and the more you get deeper into it, the more expensive it gets. I mean, the things that you buy for auditions when you get together, you buy the backdrop and then you're updating lighting and then you're doing camera work and then yeah, it does definitely get very expensive to where, I've had to take a break and kind of like, okay, let me just save up, chill on that and get back to it. And that's what's great about it. It will always be here. It will
Yeah.
always be here for you. If you're in it and you're doing it, it's going to be here for you. But you as a director though, when you're casting or and like you said acting, what do you look for in co-stars and assistants and just everything that it entails working on a film?
Goof. And some of the stuff you look for it in the beginning, and then some things become revealed. You get bigger into rehearsal, and you're like, oh, so this is what you're like. Okay. I think I try to go for, when it comes to casting, I look for actors who are, definitely open and seem somewhat easy to work with. And the meaning, and when I say that, not like you have to be super bubbly and kind and sweet,
Right,
but just more so you're professional and you're receptive and you're not going to create some issue or some kind of drama later on in the process.
right.
um, so those are things that I look for, and I also look for someone who's open to play and trying like things, different things, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Like, hey, can I try a thing? You're like, sure. I think
Right, right,
that's as well too. So anytime, I'll say this, anytime an actor I feel like is very fixed, like they come in and they're like, this is my character and I have,
right,
practiced this and this is what it is to me.
right,
That's always like kind of an orange flag. It's like, well, you don't really know who this is. Like you're just auditioning. Like we have
right.
too much more to excavate and to discover. So those are kind of like anyone who's a little too absolute when they come in, like it's this. It's like,
Right.
it isn't. It probably is not. So
Right.
yeah.
As an actress director, how do you deal with scrutiny? Because we get a lot of that. It's
Mm,
man, yeah.
yeah. Especially too, as I don't know,
Mm,
as a woman, I feel like people are always
yeah.
trying to play me. I
Oh
mean,
my,
that like
yes.
there's just always been these, whether it's like microaggressions or kind of undermining or underhanded stuff, and it's always like, and I feel like I walk the fine balance too of trying to I don't want to say demand respect, but trying to, be stern on certain things or like, hey, like hold my ground on something, but
Yeah.
walking that fine line of it can easily be perceived as like
Oh my gosh.
I'm being this, I'm
Yes.
being catty, I'm being whatever.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
always am like, how do I?
Yeah.
So it's difficult. And then I do think on one aspect, being an actress and a director, some people are like, oh, so you understand acting, you understand that process. So some
Right.
folks, and then other folks are kind of like, well, you can't really figure out what you are. Like, you got a lot going on. What is all this? And so I think some people, the multi hyphenate thing freaks them out. It's like, pick one and stick to it. And then I think other
No.
folks kind
Yeah.
of see that, it makes your experience a bit more expansive. And yeah, yeah.
I was talking to some friends. We were out having dinner, my girls,
Mhm.
and They work in animation. We during the day we do stop and go animation, toymation, and it's for like Netflix and for Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., Paw Patrol. So I got into that world, and so we were out having dinner, and we were having the discussion about females in charge as a woman being in charge. And everyone's had this discussion, you know, if we raise our voice, we're being a B word, or, you know, she's a shrewd businesswoman, whatever. And so having to step into that role and having to, like you said, put your foot down, or, you know, I've had to do it as well, where, okay, I'm really nice. And people tend to take that smile and they take your kindness for weakness. So they kind of push. And then when you're like stern and letting them know, no, this is how it's going to go down. Wow, she's being a bee. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't know you had that side to you. What? I mean, what? I got a deadline. I got things I have to do. So, you know, now you get to meet me. That's what I say. Now meet me. And
Mhm.
I hate to bring that person out. How do you were talking on it, but do you get that where people, you're so kind, you're so nice, and you're a female, so they're not gonna think that they
Mhm.
kind of push that
Oh, yeah.
smile.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've gotten it from men, I've gotten it from women, I've gotten it from folks who are older than me. I think it's just a
Right.
constant, like, battle. I mean, I guess this is the life I have I've chosen
Right?
for myself, and yeah, it's frustrating, and I hate to be this person, but I'll tell Will, my partner, I'll say, like, you know, something will happen, and I'm like, "I know definitively in my heart that if I was a man, this person would have not have said this to me. They would have
Yeah.
not even thought about it." But because
Right.
I think one being a woman, and then I think also age plays a role too.
Yeah.
Typically, you know, most movie directors or even theater directors have historically been white men, middle-aged white
Yes.
dudes. And now a
Absolutely.
lot of
Yes.
them are older white dudes.
Yes.
So I think when you're a young woman, a black woman, it's like people are like, huh, what are you doing over here?
Yeah. Right.
So, you know, that is I also felt that way too. I was like, I also feel like if I was older even sometimes people would not be saying this stuff to me, but you
Right.
know, you
Yeah.
just kind of yeah, you take it, you deal
Yeah.
with it and then you kind of but all I will say though that there have been a lot of people I've worked with who've been very respectful and very
Yeah.
open and receptive. You know, it's just there are all those instances that are like frustrating.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got to show you the other side of me. Yes. And
Yeah.
it's like I hate having to do that, but
Mhm.
now you know.
Mhm.
Okay. Before we end, I'm going to give it to you, but I want to ask you a really fun question. If you can play any historical figure, who would you play?
Ooh, any
All
historical
right.
figure. Ooh, I really love, I don't know if I could pull it off, but I really love, Eartha Kitt. I thought
Oh
she
my.
man, so dynamic and, animated and
Yeah.
expressive, so I think there's parts of me that's like, "I think I could do it." Eartha Kitt was
Right.
also incredibly, like, fit and, like, toned, and
Yes.
she danced, so I was like, I don't know if I could commit to that."
Right. Right.
Body
Right.
transformation, for the part, but yeah, just a really dynamic individual, had, you know, quite a life. I mean, ups and
Yes.
downs and all types of
Yeah.
things in between, and so I think that would be a fun one.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, what
I,
about for you? Do you have someone that you
yeah. I was thinking of, oh gosh, Dorothy Dandridge. I when I discovered her, because I was a huge Marilyn Monroe, just I love that old Hollywood, but I didn't know about her, and I saw her on the cover of an Ebony magazine at my mom's friend's house, and I was in middle school, and I was like, my God, she's beautiful. Who is she? So I went through this hole where I had to find out who she was. You know, where did she go? What's her story? Because you didn't know about her. Like, you didn't know that she was actually your very first Marilyn Monroe. Like, it was
Mhm,
Dorothy Dandridge. That it was her, and she played in Carmen, and she danced with the Nichols brothers, and just her whole history. And so I've always been fascinated with her story, and was excited when Janet Jackson was going to play her, and kind of did the they did a lot of pictures of Janet Jackson looking like her, and finally we all, you know, talked about her when Halle Berry played her in the Dorothy Dandridge story. So I
yeah.
just love her. I got T-shirts that I
Oh,
found on eBay with her on it, and she was just amazingly beautiful, talented, and What a story.
I absolutely. I would say
What
that's
a
probably
story.
like the second. I was like, yeah, Dorothy Dandridge is just
Yes.
an icon. And then also too, just but I not to make it a downer, but like lived a difficult life, like dealt with a
Yes.
lot of nonsense and then died alone. And I mean, just
Yes.
also sort of similar to Marilyn Monroe and how she died. I mean, just kind
Right.
of like what happened to these, I mean, these women who were
Thank
so
you.
adored and it's just
Yes.
yeah, very sad.
Even Billie Holiday, oh my gosh, her story is absolutely amazing. I mean, the things she accomplished, but the things she had to go through just to get on stage, just to sing a song. Carnegie Hall was, I think she did that a few weeks before she died. Just her story. Diana Ross did a great job, playing her. That's my first introduction to Billie Holiday, and then finding out about the real Billie Holiday, watching her biography. Another person that was absolutely fascinated by it, who also died a tragic death, and drugs. I mean, wow, what they did to her, what they did to her, and what she went through as a young girl, and just her story.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah, Billie Holiday, rest in peace, man. Dorothy
absolutely.
Dandridge, rest in peace. We have a lot of great figures out there in film
Yes.
that a lot of young people don't even know about, and I hate that they don't know Dorothy. I
I
hate that they don't even know Billie Holiday.
Yep,
You
yep.
guys have so much history out there, guys. We have a lot of history out there in film, and I mean, even back in the days of Gone with the Wind, I hate that people make fun of that film and make fun of the people that were in it, but if it weren't for Mamie, who
Yep.
played her, I can't think of her name, sorry, but
Uh-huh,
she was actually very intelligent, very smart, uh, Golden Globe Award. I mean,
oh, Hattie
totally.
McDaniel. Hattie
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, thank you so much. But you make fun of these figures, and you guys don't even know if it weren't for them, where would we be?
Where
Like
we
seriously, they had to play those parts, and that's what was available if you wanted to be an actor. So thank God that they went through that, so that we can sit here freely on YouTube talking about this.
absolutely, absolutely, yep.
This goes to you. Anything you have to say? What's coming up? Anything I missed? Please.
No, I don't think so. I just wanna thank you for the platform. You're incredible at this. You're
Thank you.
incredible with just interviewing and talking. It just it all feels so natural and honestly too, I'm just excited to see what else is next. I love your journey and I
Thank
know
you.
there will be something else too,
Thank
who
you.
knows, right? But, yeah, thank
You too. You too. I mean, the awards. She's won awards. By the way, you guys can see Whirlpool. It's streaming now on Amazon Prime. You can see what was it yesterday?
Oh, yeah, I remember yesterday, second
I
play. They're
remember
all on
yesterday.
YouTube. Yeah, Imani Mitchell, you'll find them. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You guys, her links will be in the bio, the description actually of the video. And you guys, I appreciate you guys coming and joining me. I thank you guys for listening to me. Please, if you guys can, like the video, share the video. It really helps us grow. Also, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast at. You'll find Rossie's Clubhouse, and give me a review. Tell me what you think. And I really appreciate you guys. I have a lot of artists coming in April, a lot of surprises. But next week, I'm going to have John DeGregorio, the host of Movie Lovers Unite. I'm a co host on Movie Lovers Unite. I'm going to interview him. He's been doing this for a long time. Thank you so much, John. He taught me so much. So, want to give him a platform. And then I'll be interviewing Trust April 7th. I have Too Fine and Divine, Miss Kayla AK coming through. I cannot wait to meet you. I love your music. Hayla V is going to come back at the end of, let's see, April 30th. Lance Laswell, I'm going to have him on. You guys, there's going to be a lot of new artists coming on the show. Thank you so much. Don't leave, Imani. Stay right there. Again, this is Miss Imani Mitchell, you guys. She is an actor, director, screenwriter here in Sacramento, you guys. And again, thank you. Payday 916, Payday. That interview is going to drop. Okay, you guys, you will see that interview. I'm fanning out on Payday 916. Thank you so much for being patient, and we are out.